Good afternoon. This is Dr. Myers with Miami Baptist Church and School. Once again, welcome to my home, and I hope you're having a great week. TGIF, it's Friday, and you made it through your first week of homeschooling. By the way, it's the first day of spring. Oh, well, technically yesterday was the first day of spring, but it is gorgeous here in South Florida. And I hope you take the time this weekend to get outside with your families. Go for a bike ride in your neighborhood, drive around and walk around, do what you need to do. It's going to be okay. You're not confined to your house. Just keep social distancing, obviously, if you run into people along the way. But today, as I was thinking about all of us ending the week and all of us being confined and listening to people on the TV about their emotional state during this time, and I think it was almost 40% of the people polled were feeling a little bit depressed, a little bit lonely, and that's to be expected. I was comparing this with the stages of grief when we go through a loss in our family. And while some of you may not have lost anybody to this virus yet, you will probably know somebody when it's all done that has. But in the meantime, you are experiencing loss. You're experiencing loss of your school system, loss of a job perhaps, loss of the ability to just get out of your house and go to the movies and visit with your friends. You are all experiencing loss. And as such, you're going through some of the stages of grief that are very common to everybody. The first one we all went through last weekend here in Miami-Dade. We only had, I think, 1 or 2 cases, and everybody was in kind of shock and awe and denial and saying, oh, this isn't such a big deal. It's not really going to hit us. What a difference a week makes, right? Here we are at the end of the week, and we are right in the midst of all of this like everybody else. And so the next stage is a little bit throughout the week you've seen people get angry and a little bit of blaming and bargaining with everybody about who did what and who is responsible and what should we be doing. And you see the anger displayed on the television and amongst your friends. And then the next stage is a little bit of acceptance and an upward turn of hope. And I pray that that's where you are today. I pray that you have begun to realize that this is not going away anytime soon, and we must, as humans, adapt. And I believe that many of our parents are doing a wonderful job of that, and many of our friends and family are doing just that as well. I know it's not easy to be confined at home with your family all week long. And it gets a little bit stressful, and it reminds me of when our family would get together for family vacations, and we would go on a 2-week vacation, and the first week was always really hard for some reason because we hadn't been together in a long time. Couples who are retiring often go through this when all of a sudden they find themselves both at home, when for years they were out working and didn't spend as much time in the home. And so they have to adjust and adapt. And for us, that first week of vacation, we would all be on each other's nerves and fussing with each other, even though we were having fun. But by the second week, we kind of began to understand each other a little bit more. We're a little bit more accepting, a little bit more loving and kind to each other. And we enjoyed one another once again. It's not uncommon what you're going through, and I think we're all going through the same thing. But I will tell you one ingredient in leadership as moms and dads that we must have, regardless of how we feel, and that one key characteristic is love. Love, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, is patient. Love is kind. The Apostle Paul demonstrates what love is and tells you that in any situation, the very first thing you must see in behavior is patience and kindness. If you find yourself being impatient and unkind in your responses, then you might want to check yourself, because that means even though you love that person, you're not being very loving, okay? It just doesn't go together. You can't say to somebody, I love you, and then be super impatient with them and making very unkind remarks. That is not a loving response. The Bible goes on to say, and to help you understand this concept of what love is not. It says, love is not jealous. It does not brag. It is not arrogant. Love does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own. It is not provoked. It does not take into account a wrong suffered by someone else. It does not rejoice in evil, but always rejoices with the truth. And listen to this. I love this in 1 Corinthians 13:7. Love bears all things. That's being very patient. Love believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. That means love never quits. So regardless of how you're feeling right now, maybe you are feeling a little bit of anger and frustration still, but nonetheless, remember, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind. Going back to the beginning of the week in 2 Timothy 1:7. Parents, I encourage you, lead in love. This is what God calls us to do. And as you do, your children will respond accordingly. Don't get impatient. And if you do, and if you sense that they're provoking you to anger, which children can do, remember Proverbs, a soft answer turns away wrath. So you need to help them by being calm and patient yourself. They will take their emotional cues from you. I mentioned that the other day. It's true. If you are calm and patient and enjoying your family, they will do the same. So let's work together this weekend to really demonstrate love to one another. And as we do, I think you'll have a much happier weekend, and next week you'll have a much happier spring break with your entire family. I hope you are going to be joining your house of worship online this weekend. And if you don't have a place to worship, please tune in with us. Go to miamibaptistchurch.com at 10:15. Go to the live videos tab and join us. We'd love to have you. If you want to stay connected throughout the week, we have what we call virtual life groups now. And if you're at the website, you can go to our groups tab and join one yourself, or you can send us a note at info@Miami Baptist Church, and we'll hook you up with one, preferably someone near to your house, so that if we need to go, and God forbid you get sick, but if you have a need, we're willing to go and help you. And we'd like to be within your normal vicinity and location. So God bless you, and I hope that you have an awesome weekend and enjoy one another in love.